Okay. Everybody get their executive session minutes, initials. Sounds okay. All right, we'll start with the arterials and collectors schedule.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening, by the way. We really just need your blessing to schedule this topic. And I think we wanted to do the River 2, Jolene, is that right? For the 12th?
Yes.
To give you a project status as it relates to the river and some budget concerns as it relates to arterials and collectors and some of the projects that we're working on there. But we didn't want to let a lot of time pass for either of those topics. We were hoping that you would allow us to entertain some conversation with you on the 12th.
How long do you need?
I hope it's only about 2 minutes. But you may need more than that.
We're in good court.
Anybody have any objections to that? We have
About 2 minutes.
I mean, it's kind of a long meeting, but it's
Yeah.
2 minutes, so.
Well, hopefully it'll be
Right.
2 minutes.
Hopefully. I'm holding you to that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Timer.
Everybody good with that? Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Johnson Group Bar and Grill proposal.
I didn't get that.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, we put some information in your packet over the weekend with regard to the request that the Johnson Restaurant Group has in lieu of some development that they'd like to carry out on the west side of town. As you all know, that development consists of at least 2 new construction type properties, one of which would be a package store, the other would be a restaurant type facility. And the request would effectively be for council to give the Johnson Restaurant Group, which is represented here by Mr. Johnson tonight, the blessing that 2 bar and grill licenses would be set aside for his use, which he would tell you would be within an 18-month time frame, so that indeed not only could he get his new restaurant supplied with a bar and grill license, but that also he could use a bar and grill license to backfill the license vacancy that he would experience by moving the Fire Rock retail license to his new package store, and then of course get a second bar and grill in the Fire Rock as a result of that move. As I indicated, we believe that these licenses will be full in effect and activity within 18 months. I've asked Mr. Johnson to come here tonight to answer any questions or to give you more details if you'd like them. But staff would certainly support this request and would entertain any questions that you guys would have.
Questions? Anybody want to hear from Mr. Johnson? Okay.
Memo in the packet was pretty
Were you
much
okay with it then?
self-explanatory.
Is council okay with this proposal? Okay.
Very good, thank you. The other thing I was going to mention to you is we do have 4 on hand right now with 1 coming our way. And so even with the full extent of this, we'd still have 3 ready to roll it to another facility. So should be in good shape.
Okay. That was easy. Golf Pro RFP draft.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as you all know, we're moving in the direction of getting a Golf Pro RFP out on the street and solicit proposals from potential pros to work at the municipal golf course. We wanted to get the language in front of you, however, one more time to give you the opportunity to ask any other questions or any other feedback you might want to offer, anything at all, before we get it out there and hopefully get some really exciting proposals back in return.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve?
I need to find it. I wrote it in here.
Want the letter?
Huh?
Want the letter?
Yeah. That's what I was looking for
It's
the
up.
contract. Yeah.
You have to make it smaller if you're gonna go with.
Oh, that's right.
There you
Okay,
go.
there we go. There was a place in here where it talked about in one place that things had to be reported to the city on a daily basis and then another place that talked about monthly. What are we really asking them to do in there?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, reporting is a very critical aspect of this RFP and potential relationship with the Pro. As it relates to the differences between the two, however, could I defer to Mr. Cortez to answer that?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, Councilman. Basically, it's two different items. We do daily receipts, which is just kind of like a miniature version of a report, and then what we ask for from the Pro is at the end of the month to compile the receipts, break it out, give us like what they did last year in comparison to this year. A little more in depth, a lot more material, but kind of more of an aggregate.
So they will be reporting to you on a daily basis then?
Correct, yeah, and that's just what, all of my facilities do that with finance, meaning
Okay.
they deposit receipts from the previous day and get that money out of the cash register, if you will, and then at the end of the month, they compile it all and give us a much more
Okay,
in-depth.
I just wanted to make sure that's actually what you were looking for, and very good then.
Any other questions on this?
Just more of a comment. I had talked to the people we have contracted with out at Three Crowns, and they're very interested in it. And I think they'd had conversations with you, Tim, and it's slightly different than what they normally do. And I said, what I told them, I said, you know, it's an RFP. You can say what you want in the RFP, and there will be a group that reviews them, and if we choose to go a different way, that's, but I just want them to understand that there's no hard feelings here if they submit one. So, anyway, you're probably gonna see something that comes in from them.
Anybody else? Anything else on that?
No, sir. Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and go over the arborist, the arbor ordinance amendment.
You betcha. We tried to take the feedback that you had, members of the council, the last meeting on this topic. And Mr. Cortez is, with the help of the attorney's office, has drafted some language for you to look at and make sure that that captures what you're looking for. And of course, if you'd be okay with Tim kind of walking us through that a little bit, see what your feedback would be.
Yeah, sure. Mr. Mayor, members of council, if you recall, last time we met, Councilman Huber had a couple amendments that he wanted. This what you have in front of you does not encapsulate those. But I think that we kind of hammered that out in the last meeting. What you have in front of you is an amendment that I had proposed to you that we discussed 2 meetings ago when this came up. And what this is basically getting at is we would like to decrease the amount of permits required when people operate on our boulevard streets. And if you recall, that's that space between the sidewalk and the street. We just want to make sure that the boulevard area, which is very common vocabulary within our world, is kind of clearly stated within the ordinance, which it kind of really isn't right now. It says in the middle of the street, so we kind of want to make sure that was more clear. And then also, we wanted to make sure that the commercial arborists, meaning those licensed people that we're discussing in its entirety anyhow, we feel comfortable that they know what to do in those, with our trees, because if you recall, the city owns the trees. Just make sure that we feel comfortable that they don't have to pull a permit to do trimming and pruning work. And so it cuts back the amount of work that our staff would have to do, and conversely, it doesn't put additional burden on those commercial arborists that have to pull a permit each time they might cut a branch with them on one of our trees. So basically what I'm looking for is a sponsor that would be willing to propose this amendment.
I think the city attorney needs or wanted to say something about.
Just to clarify, the matters that you went over at the last work session, Mr. Trimbath included those in the packet version for your review and consideration. So those, if you want those, you can include those in your action tonight. So basically, that would be just a matter of approving the ordinance as provided to you, as amended, and as presented to you in the packet.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I had that as a question, and but first, Tim, this talks about trimming and pruning, but if somebody wants to remove a boulevard tree, they still have to get a permit, right? And even if this language is adopted.
You're correct.
Okay. The other question, and this has to do with the proposed amendments that, that I brought up at our last work session and everything. I just want to make sure how's the best way to move to adopt those tonight.
Those are already in the.
They're
already in the.
that,
ordinance.
and so, but, that language will be an amendment from how it was passed on first and second reading. And so, could I just move to amend in accordance with the language that's in the packet?
That
So
would be just, that would be just fine.
That-
And-
that-
and
that
we-
would-
if we, excuse me, Council, Mayor Pro Tem, that would be just fine, because that's kind of how we have it,
Yeah,
scripted
okay.
as far as, it would be the amended ordinance and those the language within the document, including your packet. So that would
Okay,
be-
so if I start to screw that up, would you come up and kick me or something? So I'm just gonna be flying solo on this? John, you know how dangerous that is. You've seen me crash doing that before.
So it's already scripted in here as
Yes.
passing the ordinance as amended?
As amended and is presented within the packet.
Well, but I think though that I still need to move and somebody needs to second, and we need to have a vote on adopting the amendments, don't we?
You can actually, and we had a relatively lengthy discussion in our office about that, whether we needed to go through it that way or just say that those amendments are included within this. This is the third reading. You have those before you. It's within the packet. It's been published. You can just adopt them as in total with one motion basically to go ahead and approve it as written within the packet.
Oh, okay,
So you
so
won't-
we
you
can just
won't need
move to adopt it as in the packet, and that would have the same effect as moving to amend all the stuff that I
Right, and
just
then
said.
of course they can be discussed or
Okay.
dissected.
That would probably be the cleanest way to do it, if,
Probably so.
yeah, okay.
But we'll still need someone to sponsor this amendment as well, so. You can do that if you like.
Yeah, I can, yeah, it'll be so much fun. But I'll leave it to somebody else to move the other things so that I don't screw it up.
Okay, anything else on this topic? Okay. Agenda review. You have anything, Carter?
No, sir.
So, with the Plains Furniture property coming up again, there's no public hearing on this, so people will have to say their piece during the public comment section, so I'll, it's scripted in here, I got the updated script, so I'll just go ahead and let people know. And if they wanted to say anything for or against it, that they could do it at the public comment section of the meeting.
So you'll point that out?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions or other comments about tonight's agenda? We do have an executive session tonight as well.
I don't have a comment about it. I just wanted to let you guys know that next week I will be about a half hour to 45 minutes late
Okay.
for work session.
Okay. I thought I had one more thing, but yeah, do you wanna? Okay, we have a, I'll go ahead and let Carter explain it.
Just as a reminder, council, we did get a withdrawal, if you will, or I should say a continuance actually is what it is, of the appeal regarding the planning commission's decision regarding, for that Wilkins Circle piece of land. So, the motion that is before you tonight would simply recognize that continuance until after the new year. And that really is just a reminder.
Thank you. I think that's all I had then. Anybody else have anything? Okay, well, we got 15 minutes, so take a break.